On behalf of Crosscheck Media and BizTalk Today TV, welcome everyone to the Money Path. I'm your host, Todd Schoenberger. Joining me today is a very special guest. We have Arthur Firstov of Mercuryo. He is the Chief Business Officer, and he's going to tell us all about stablecoins. Arthur, welcome to the Money Path. I want to ask you about for our audience, I would say that's not familiar with the crypto ecosystem. How exactly would you explain what stablecoins are and why they're suddenly becoming so important to the global financial system?
For sure. Thanks for having me, Todd. I think stablecoin, the best ways to explain what stablecoin is like just a new money. So it's more like a appropriate way for current financial ecosystem for existing payment companies, for fintech companies, and in general, like for any other businesses, just to use cross-border transfers, do like operations internally with the payrolls and other part of settlements, maybe flows. And I believe it's going to be like also the currency of the new AI future as well.
So it's completely digital then, but it is correlated. Now, I was doing some research on this. It's somehow correlated to the US dollar.
Yeah, it's directly linked to the US dollar prices. That's why it's called a stable coin. So it's one to one basically.
Just one to one. So if I have this stable coin and I have a wallet, it's on my iPhone, how do I transact business though? Do I have to transfer the money like I would through maybe a PayPal, or is there another technique to it?
Yeah, so there's actually a lot of players in this space that are working currently on stablecoin infrastructure, and it can be actually existing payment companies or remittances companies or payroll companies, for example, Deal or other players that are, people and all over the businesses around global and like the US specifically using for themselves. So stable coins allow you to, basically transfer money 24/7. Anywhere it lands the same second, and it's instant and it's faster, it's lower cost, which is really important for the business and individuals. And you can probably use like in near future and already right now, you can probably use some of the companies that you already been interacting with, some of the banks, some of the neobanks, some fintech applications in the US and across the world as well.
Yeah, it's super cool. So it's obviously a 21st century type of currency. So what about how does Mercurio fit into the equation then?
We are payment because we build up like a payment infrastructure company where we operate as like more B2B partner of many digital asset and crypto companies as well. But also right now we're stepping into kind of like a new emerging ecosystem where crypto native infrastructure companies and TradFi traditional financial companies are emerging into one, and they're building like a frontier of the new, I would say, financial ecosystem, building new payment products, and we're contributing to different companies where, we involve in some ecosystem of stable coins, working with the stable coin issuers, and building up the infrastructure where people can transact freely send money over to other companies, or maybe move money from their bank accounts into wallets, into crypto platforms, and also like freely move them back into real world and spend these stable coins in real world as well.
So I can go to the Mercurio website. I can buy Bitcoin then, it sounds like.
Yeah, you can buy any cryptocurrency, and you can also buy stable coins. So I think it all depends on the use cases for businesses that, for example, work with more traditional merchants like e-commerce. For them, I would say stable coins will be the best choice. But for some of the businesses, for example, like trading firms or like some structured financial products, some other currencies might be interesting as well. So we kind of operate in this environment where we facilitate all of these operations, linking them to different banks in different jurisdictions in different countries, depends on the where users coming from, and we're helping them to move money in between crypto world and the fiat world.
Okay, so I just saw a press release, I think came out a few days ago. It says that there are zero transaction fees now with Mercurio. So how's the company making money then?
You might be seeing like some of those releases over the course of this year, and we also been doing this last year as well with some of our partners that want to have like really frictionless and fast experience for their customers to move money in and out of their platform using banks or using Apple Pay or different payment methods in their regions. And I think like the logic here is like in most of those businesses that we currently use in, I don't know, our world, like Uber or like delivery, we don't really pay transactions fees when we want to have a service. We only pay for the service. So I guess like depends on the businesses that we're dealing with. Users obviously will have some premium or some commissions that they pay for the services that these businesses provide to them. Either it's financial services, either like investments or like a different banking or payment services. But for transactions, for this kind of operation where we're helping those people to move money out of their bank account into like this business specifically, we believe we can do better and subsidize and like work around some of the specific business schemes.
Reuters came out recently and said that stablecoins could eliminate upwards of $500 billion in deposits for traditional banks by 2028. Do you see the stablecoin space as being a disruptor to traditional banks or as a future partner?
I would say it can live in parallel, and what we see right now is less like replacement of the legacy ecosystem or infrastructure. It's more like a development of like new subsidiaries around it. And there's a lot of companies that actually have pedigree and have like their background in finance. For example, you might heard about Stripe and their new venture with Paradigm, which is called Tempo. So Tempo is like a blockchain infrastructure that also includes stablecoin infrastructure. And the way they see themselves in the current evolving market and the current ecosystem of digital assets, they're planning to work with neobanks, with fintechs, with banks, and provide them with different infrastructural tools, both for stable coins and for different payment purposes. And I would say like they can live together, they can build up products that will help users and businesses around the world to basically transact freely and have benefits of low costs as well.
One thing that a lot of people don't realize is that crypto payments require infrastructure. So how is your company really structuring that on ramp, off ramp process for crypto payments?
Yeah, it's all started 7 years ago when it was like pretty uncertain time for many payment companies and many digital asset companies as well. So the way we structure our business, we are fully licensed and fully compliant in all jurisdictions we operate, and we operate the way that we plug it into different banks and banking channels and payment channels in all of the regions around the world. Currently, we operate globally and domestically. We also have some partners, some payment companies, banks, and infrastructure companies that help us to facilitate these payments locally. So that's our main model, and that what allows us to move, confidently into this new evolving ecosystem together with some TradFi companies that are willing to build like the new frontier of the digital assets and the financial companies as well. So you need to have this kind of like fully compliant and regulated way of operating the business. And you need to have a partners locally and domestically, like globally as well, to provide those services around the world.
That's amazing. That's quite fascinating. So, Arthur, I'm sure you're familiar with the Genius Act. So, with the Genius Act, the intent is to provide some stability to stablecoins. So, there's a regulatory piece to this. Do you see the Genius Act as being a disruptor in the form of future evolution, or do you think that it's needed to validate the existence of stablecoins?
That's a great question. I would say it's in both. Actually, it disrupts the current environment in a sense that it gives like more clarity and more like a understandable framework for businesses, how to operate in this environment, what's possible to do, what will be, classified as a stable coin, and what type of partners can be, potentially infrastructure providers for this new emergent ecosystem. And also like while, exploring these, all of these questions, I guess it questions and it challenges like the existing frameworks that we have in the traditional finance world, as well as like in the digital asset class too, because it's pretty much new and modern and young industry, right? So I think it's doing a great job for both of these questions, and we're super happy it's happening. I guess it will, give us a path and many other companies to operate freely and scale globally as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that makes a lot of sense. But with that, there's always going to be challenges and bottlenecks. So what do you see as being those bottlenecks that maybe you can provide a solution to maybe this year? I'm sure I'm sure Mercuryo is trying to figure out solutions here to expand stablecoin and its involvement with the population.
Yeah, our approach and our thesis on the stablecoin development specifically, there is a lot of businesses and there's a lot of industries beyond crypto native industry. So we used to think that stable coins or digital asset class or any products that we build for this specific market, that's the only thing where everything will be happening. It's kind of like an isolated ecosystem if you look at this, and still relatively small in comparison to the traditional finance ecosystem. So our thesis is that we want to work with a lot of different infrastructure companies, product-driven teams, different companies that are building in a stablecoin ecosystem and different infrastructure, and we want to work together with them and the different traditional financial companies like banks, neobanks, and fintechs, and explore collaborations for their specific use cases. So this is where we're best off. We kind of operate as an independent when we incubate our own products, and our like a flagship product is on and off ramp. We're helping companies and people, individuals to move money in and out from their banks. But additionally, I guess there's so many different businesses that we can tap into and think about it as more like a consortium structure where we want to like help everyone to win in a sense that it's more clear what type of use cases we're building, who needs that use cases, and how we can together push it forward and kind of like have this massive scale that you're talking about.
Yeah, it's interesting. What's the outcome here? I mean, I'm sure there's a grand vision here. Is it just to eliminate other traditional currencies and just go to a digital I mean, is that where we're headed? Or I mean, it takes time to get there, but is that the end game here?
I would say the end game will be if we can capture as much as possible market share in some specific markets as well, like emergent markets where, for example, like traditional payment networks or like banking systems, not providing the services or products that users want to have, and they want to have it today. So I think there's a lot of companies that are trying to get in there, and our goal will be like just to help them to make this transition faster and serve these markets as soon as possible. There's a lot of countries and like specific industries that also called like sort of unbanked, and I think we believe that stable coins will help them to kind of change the situation, and the ultimate goal will be more like a supplementary factor where we help in to solve some of the areas that being kind of like excluded right now from the traditional flows. But obviously, like if we can also replace some of the legacy, I would say infrastructure that currently not serving well and just being used because there's nothing else better, will be great if we can collaborate with those companies and embed some of these workflows into their existing business models as well.
So if Mercuryo is handling, because there's only so much of the pie that it's, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but there's a limited supply of stable coins. Is that correct?
I believe there's a lot of stablecoin issuing companies that can, like operate in a different markets with a different like thresholds. So, it's pretty much limited, and you need to have like reserves, and you need to kind of guarantee that, it's backed by something like there's different models, some stable coins backed by US dollar, some of them they're backed by like treasury bills, some of them they have like gold reserves backed. So like it's different models. I think there's so many ways, and it will be probably very few players that capture in majority of the market, but there's such a big pie, as you say, where the other companies with the other different models for the stable coin issuers, can come along. So yeah, I mean, like it's interesting how and who will be the main leader. So it's still not defined yet, I believe.
So because it is, I mean, it's unregulated. So I would think that there would be an opportunity for consolidation, though, especially you have companies like a Visa, PayPal, BlackRock's even getting involved with this, with these tokens. So if you take over another company with the consolidation, you're just increasing that market share instantly without a lot of regulatory oversight. I mean, do you see that happening in the near future in this space?
Yeah, I would say what's also interesting, if you look at the payment networks, for example, yesterday Mastercard just announced their crypto program where they include like members. I believe it's like around 65 different companies. Mercuryo is one of them as well, because we've been contributing to Mastercard developments in digital asset space since I guess like 2023, 2024. So we're currently like stepping in the future where we see like more consortium structure of different companies pushing the frontier together, and some of them maybe like like just a middleware for another product, but they're super important. They're serving specific use case, and they're being built by the teams or founders that have like dedicated niche experience and expertise. For example, coming from their banking experience, like trading or any other financial use cases that already exist, but kind of like looking into them from the perspective of what else we can do here and how we can improve. But I guess for the massive scale, for the mass adoption, you need to operate as consortium and you need to work closely with all of them, which we're trying to be. And Mercuryo is serving this role where we're trying to unite all these companies and help them with existing use cases, but also go somewhere where it's like no one is doing a new thing. So we're trying to kind of bring this novelty and innovation there.
Now, hold on. Now that you said Mercury, is it Mercury or Mercuryo?
Mercuryo.
Mercuryo. Okay.
Yep.
My apologies.
It's a tricky one.
Well, definitely here on the lower banner we have your website there.
Mercury is our partner as well. Everyone knows Mercury. I think a lot of companies here in the US back with them as well. So and I guess they're also heading into this new evolved ecosystem together.
That's great. That's outstanding. And my apologies to everyone that founded the company there. So I want to ask you about your role as the business officer. Are you going out to I imagine you are talking to businesses about embracing stablecoin adoption. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So give me the process there, because do you get a lot of is a lot of pushback saying, look, this is never going to happen, or are companies a little bit more open-minded and willing to adopt?
Yeah, I would say with the Genius Act and all of the new clarity that we see in other countries and jurisdictions as well, we see more like open-minded conversation. And my goal and my role is just to go there and talk to people and introduce them multiple products we build or our partners are building right now, and look for the use cases and look for some challenges that they have right now. Explore that. It takes time, obviously in the first place you need to have an open-minded approach, and I believe it's happening already. And some of those companies, they already have been doing a serious research and development for years in this domain. So I guess right now we're perfectly timed. It's been never best place right now to build those ecosystem and build these products. And I believe timing, the industry is also timed perfectly with regulation and with I would say amount of different companies that have been working on those products for the last years. So never been so excited now, to be honest.
That's great. And the final question I have for you then is, now that we're going through this transformation from this type of going into these digital currencies, where do you see the opportunity for investors the most? Is it in the stablecoin production, or is it actually, or the companies creating this, or is it the infrastructure companies like your firm? Where do you see the biggest opportunities that are out there?
Yeah, this is a great question, because right now I think if you look on the crypto market and the financial market, they still kind of have a different view on the investments perspective and return of investments and the type of investments as well, and what type of companies would be the best to invest in. So because it's still in crypto or in digital asset space, it's still evolving and developing. So I would say, in my opinion, the interesting companies that you should look up to is going to be definitely infrastructure companies that are working together with financial companies already, for example, financial institutions or banks and different institutional partners in general, that will bring these use cases live. So infrastructure companies, they can build their infrastructure, but they also need to have some distribution partner, someone who can help them to bring these products and get these products out of the door. So I guess that will be the first, I would say, priority for investors, to look at the companies that are issuing stable coins, working the stable coin infrastructure, but also have the distribution power. They also have strategic partner or someone who can help them to bring these products live.
That's amazing. I love it. That's great. And I can see why investors are embracing this. It is you have somebody like an Anthony Scaramucci, who's very, very, he's out there as a proponent to this space, and he is out there beating the drum. And he's just one person I know, but there's many more like yourself that are out there that are loving this. So how can investors, what's the URL for investors to go out there and check out the infrastructure?
You can go to Mercuryo.io. This is our website, but there's a lot of different companies. I guess you can look up to MasterCard recent report and research. They published like the official program. There's 65 companies that are working tirelessly on the new ecosystem, and I believe it's going to be even more. So definitely look up to those and look up to the main players in financial industry, what they're picking and choosing. I believe those choices and decisions will also help to get your head around it in terms of investments as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. Absolutely. It's definitely the wave of the future. That's for sure. Arthur, I want to thank you for joining me today. This was great. We got to have you back, especially as the stablecoin market just continues to evolve and become more popular and with all the other items that are taking place. But it was a pleasure having you today.
Likewise. Thank you very much, Todd.
Thank you. So on behalf of Arthur Firstov, I am Todd Schoenberger. Thank you so much for joining us today on The Money Path. Have a wonderful weekend. Coming up on Monday, 3 o'clock live, we have Madden on the line. You will not want to miss what Joe Madden has to say. She is a very special guest as well. And until then, we'll see you then. Take care.
Access real-time data and intelligent analytics exactly when you need them. Get the right data at the right time. Learn more at quotemedia.com.
There's more happening behind the headlines, and you deserve the full story. At Biz Talk Today TV, we break down investing, government moves, entertainment business, and even sports gambling, all in one place. Real conversations, smart insights, content that helps you think smarter and stay ahead. Thousands are tuning in. Don't miss what's next. Subscribe now to Biz Talk Today TV on YouTube and join the conversation shaping the future.